fun.
Her being on American Idol, for me, has done her a lot of good.
Yeah.
I got a lot more time for her now than I ever had before.
I think everybody thought she was a bit of a diva, but she wasn't. The worst one for me, for being a diva, was Jennifer Aniston.
Really?
Yeah.
You see, because I quite like her.
Yeah, well, I thought you might. I could sense that.
I'm only flesh and blood.
She's a very pretty, lovely girl, but she went mad because I walked in, we were filming in the Dorchester, and we went in this suite, and this girl said, go in, like somebody might in here. So I walk in and she's having a cigarette. And she went mad because I caught her smoking, and they made me sign all these release forms and all this sort of stuff.
But you weren't going to tell anybody.
Yeah, I couldn't care less, And then, because she took ages to warm up after that because she was really angry. And you're thinking, I'm not bothered, So I suppose people like that. John Travolta was great just because it was Saturday Night Fever. You can't quite believe you sat opposite the bloke from Greece, So, yeah, it's always good memories.
Sex Bomb. Tom Jones
I'm glad you called me that. I like Tom Jones. He is, I think, one of our best pop stars ever. And what a legend. And I thought, what song describes me? And I thought of this.
You're listening to BBC Radio Leeds. We're talking to Neil Sean, who's been an entertainment reporter on both sides of the pond in Hollywood and more often now in the UK. Would that be fair to say?
The opposite way, really, now. Yeah, they love me in America, they don't like me here. This is a booking after 12 years, I think.
What have you made? I mean, you've worked, as you mentioned, with Rupert Murdoch and everything. What have you made of all the hacking stuff? Is it anything that you ever came across?
Do you know what? I mean, it's like any job, isn't it? Wherever you work. I think, it's like, say, if you work in a local baker's, but do you know what goes on in the head office? People ask those questions and you think, for me, James Murdoch was always polite. The people at Sky I used to love, still know them well. People like Kay Burley. Met Rebecca Wade. She definitely had a sort of smell of the night about her. I wouldn't want to be trapped in a lift with her. But pleasant enough to me. You've got to take people on face value, haven't you? And think they were all right. I think what goes on is always slightly shocking because I think it's when you meet them, outside of that realm. I mean, I think when you watch, say, Simon Cowell in America, we were walking through Fox Studios and stuff, and people are virtually bowing and scraping, and I'm looking at this guy that we would go to a cafe round the corner with, and he wasn't that flush, he just had got Sunita going at the time.
Yeah,
he couldn't shake her off then, and you just think, there's a lot of pressure, and yet the image of people is totally different. But I think I was just walking through Leeds Market now, and this woman came up from this lovely lady from behind this makeup counter and said, "Oh, I watch you all the time, love, can you sign me this?" And, people think they know you, but they don't, Well, they might do when they see me around Poundland, but, that's, that's where I'm going later.
What about the hacking, though? I mean, is it something that is worth doing? Is it something, I guess there is part of you that becomes a journalist, isn't there, very much?
Well, I'm not a journalist, seriously. I'm an entertainer, and I write columns and stuff, and I just really write interviews with people, so people have willingly sat down with me, you know what I mean? And the little tidbits and stuff in the Metro tend to come tongue-in-cheek. It's just that they badly edit it. But it's a bit like, if Danny Minogue's making an album, I might put something like, chilling news, Danny's threatening to go back to the studio. Yeah. She knows I like her. The fans take it maybe the wrong way, but actually if you know me well, you think, he's not in a good mood today, whatever. But I think most people, if you sit down with them and are honest, I think most people will tell you the stories. I think the hacking is not just sort of endemic really to News International. I think it goes on everywhere. If you look way back in the 50s in Hollywood, there was a magazine called Confidential. And it's the most thrilling story, in fact, if you want to know about this. And what they did to get stories was amazing. They would take away celebrities' dustbins, they would have private detectives staying in a room next door to them with surveillance equipment. Not as technical as what we've got now, but it's the same thing. And then they would literally put the story to the person. And if that person wouldn't tell their version, they'd print that anyway.
What's next for you?
Well, what's next for me is I've got 2 books coming out. How to Live Like a Celebrity for Free. I'll send you a copy. You'll love it. That's going to be out later on in the year on Splendid Books. And locally, near Skipton, Vertical Publishing are going to be publishing my book next year, which is called It's Not Where You Start, It's Where You Finish. And it really is about, my life and how I kind of got to this point. Now working for NBC, MSNBC, Access Hollywood. Busy with my own studio. I've now got a studio in London, in Westminster Live. We make DVDs like Western Stars and Conversation, out now. And we've got a Doctor Who DVD coming out. We've got a Dad's Army, and we've got Mike Winters. And I'd like to do some audience with. I'd love to do that. You know, I'd like to be interviewed by somebody, probably be interviewed by somebody on stage, and, you know, get questions from the audience, because I think I've really enjoyed it this afternoon, seriously, because it gives you a chance to get your side of the story, because I think you've had some really nice questions.
Final song.
Oh, I love this song. It's Liza Minnelli, Some People, and it's all about drab people in boring lives, and it might be good enough for them, but it's not good enough for me. It says everything about what you need to know about me, Neil Sean.